What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders? Hope you guys doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys are surviving the data dump we got in the market. We got Albert in the house. Good morning to you. We got Bill, Brian Thompson. Good morning, Carlos, Eric. Good morning to Frank, Jack, Jay, Jeff, Joe, JT. Guys are piling in. We got Kevin, Martina, Shane, Tim King. Good morning to Tim. All my peeps out in YouTube land. Richard Jet, I haven't seen you in a minute. I feel like I haven't seen. Good morning to you. We got Ivo. Good morning. All my other lurkers in the background. It's okay. I still love you. Hit that like and subscribe button. But we got the aftermath of CPI. We got the aftermath of Jerome Powell. And now we got the aftermath of PPI. So PPI did come in light today. Also, the job numbers also came in where a little bit higher on the I guess the unemployment. So everything is positive in terms of the rate cuts, but we also had the dot plot yesterday too, and I think that was kind of the initial. I think I think the dot plot was actually hawkish because the market was it was tough. The dot plot was looking for probably one rate cut this year. So for just from where the Fed kind of places where they think the rates will be, uh, they're looking at one rate cut. Market was kind of looking at two, but then again, we had the kind of some bad numbers before that set the Fed futures back to okay, maybe we get one. So it's a little bit priced into the markets, and then you have the good CPI. Jerome Powell didn't really answer too many questions. He did a good job just avoiding everything yesterday. So didn't really help the market and then kind of put the market into just this little sideways chop. We were selling a little bit off of kind of him and the dot plot and reversing things a little bit. But all in all, we did survive. I mean, so we're just looking for just getting by. We did a good job with that. And then today's PPI numbers did come in light. The market's kind of liking it. But where we're opening right now is really just at yesterday's VPOC. We should have a few days of digestion just for the market to kind of be like, okay, let's settle and let's figure out where we want to go from here. But um, depends on where this market opens. We're right at that resistance. I'd be looking at the highs of yesterday for a continued market, obviously to really start to ramp up. Got a little indecision. We got some bears that did come in yesterday. If we could start taking them out, I think that'd be good for the bulls and anybody that had some protective puts or anything like that would have to kind of close those out, take the loss, and that would probably drive us a little bit higher too. But we're looking at a wide open gap again. We just didn't even touch my number of my imaginary number of 538.88. So we're still sitting above it, but we are opening into a little bit of resistance today. Today's price action off PPI was a little strange. The initial reaction was a tiny little dip. Where were we? About 8:30. So it was a small initial move. I think that was probably some of the algos. We did run bullish off of it, but we gave it all back, and we're sitting essentially right where we were uh, pre PPI numbers. So we did give back some of those gains. We are above all those moving averages, and then we have right now today's VPOC for the moment is sitting at 541.96. So I'll use that as a little bit of support. If we start breaking under that, I got one more level down to 541.45. And then if we start getting past that point, I think we start getting a little bit more to the ugly side, but even the ugly was still looking at some kind of retest from yesterday. So nothing too crazy. But we'll have to see how these levels hold. We got the Qs. Qs were, I don't know if this is real. I'm not sure if that's a real wick whatsoever. I'd find that very hard to believe if it was, but we did put in higher highs. We're just consolidating. We got to get above 477.77 for the rally to continue. Let's look at the daily charts. Daily chart, we're all the way up, gapping up higher. Big retest candle. Second big gap in a row. Would not be surprised if this one does fade a little bit, pull back, retrace. People want to take some profits after a few days. But again, we are gapping into all-time highs. That does come on the heels of AVGO. announcing a 10-to-1 split. Let's look at TLT first. TLT Bulls are there, so we're gapping above yesterday's opening price, which is good. Obviously above that closing price. Into a little resistance at open, and then I got one more resistance above us at 93.27. So we'll see how that kind of holds that. Otherwise, one thing to look at is we did kind of come up yesterday's high, retested into this, and we sold off that little resistance. So if we do get above this 93.30 today for TLT, well, we've already pretty much retested the 93.70 and probably a little bit easier break. So 94.45 would be the targets, and I think that would be fairly bullish for the markets at that point. That would kind of confirm some of the data and then push us a little bit higher. Let's look at AVGO. If you guys got tickers, throw those into the chat, whichever ones you guys want to look at. But we had Broadcom report fairly good earnings. They beat by $430 million, better than expected. They beat by 11 cents on earnings per share. And then the big news for them is the 10-to-1 stock split, which we just saw NVIDIA do the same thing, and we know how that story played out. So makes sense that people are bullish on this one. Major gap. I'm not sure if Sydney's in the house, but I know she's been a Broadcom bull, so I'm hoping she was holding yesterday through those earnings because that was a really good payday for her. We'll see what happens, but we also had a nice little run up into this gap, so maybe some profit taking, probably a little bit. Get some pullback. That's going to affect the Qs. That's probably going to affect the SPY too if we do get this little retest. But we're at all-time highs with the 10-to-1 split, so I don't know. Who knows? What did NVIDIA end up doing on that day the day of earnings? Looks like we did end up closing higher. We had a good little pump, closed halfway, and then a couple more days of follow through. So we'll see if AVGO wants to play out similar to that. Tesla. Frank, good morning to you. Tesla battling the 190 zone. Not too much resistance up there. But a little bit higher in 192.79, and then we got the 200. I believe they settled to pay Elon, if I'm not mistaken. Pop the champagne moment for Tesla. Here's what to expect at Thursday's annual meeting. Bullish analyst Thursday. Compensation package as pop the champagne moment. I like that term. I don't know. Is it just me? Oh, they got a maintains an outperform rating to $275 price target implying scope of 55%. That's a big one. I like this a lot. The removal of the overhang. So yeah, you had a lot in the way, just kind of holding Tesla down. And now that we got some cleared information, I think we have a little bit of a clearer path higher. So I do agree to the higher side. We got a couple in terms of day trades. What's this? Upgrades, neutral. The latest came in February. We haven't had anything since. But yeah, nice gap on that news. Wouldn't mind seeing a pullback. I'm not sure how much we get, but I know 190 is going to be a little bit of a challenge. Starting to look a little bit of inverted head and shoulders. We'll cover this again. I'm hosting the swing room tonight. So we'll add this to the list for the swing room as well if it's not there already. But we got Tesla. The big zone on Tesla is 193.49. So if we can get up there, we start to clear it. We get to that 200 today. Could be off to the races, but it's a pretty big gap pre-market for Tesla. Definitely going much higher on the list to watch. Definitely getting up there. I would love to see some selling, and I do think that I agree with that article where you have most of that overhang behind you at this point. And then he wants what, 275, you said? He's going to throw us back up here. Okay. All right. Analyst guy. Sounds good. But yeah, if I could get some high wave candles, I'd probably give it a try. Pull back a little bit, I'd give it a try. I definitely want to remain more bullish than bearish on it. I don't think I want to play that fade on it. Play, on the other hand, missed earnings, a significant gap down. You do have a little bit of longer term support here, kind of clearing a pretty key area. So even if we get some kind of bounce, if I'm looking to short something, it's probably play today. Can you believe it? Not even one single mention of AI on their conference call. But they missed by 73 cents earnings per share, so missed by 42%. And then you got a miss of $27 million to the downside on the revenue portion of things. So not a great gap. You're clearing a lot of pivots. My assumption would be that this thing comes back a little bit further. The only other thing I'd want to check on this one, and maybe some bulls want to check this out. We look very, very close. This is probably not to the penny, but we look very, very close at 618, although we did break. We're opening underneath it. That was a great bounce for the bulls to hop in on that hammer. Good gap up. Things are looking nice double bottom. I think we are trapping some additional bears or bulls on this one. But yeah, I'd probably be looking to go short on play. Let's get that one much higher. QCOM. QCOM. All-time high gap. This one I'm going to throw higher on the list too. I like the fact that it's not like a $400 gap like most of the other things, which is nice. We did have some buying, so this one I wouldn't mind playing bullish. Either pre-market breakout or opening high wave candle, something I could take a break above. Otherwise, support on this one, if it does want to do a full retest, I'm watching for like that 213.62 zone. But every bear that got in here, any bears are still holding on. These guys are all trapped. So that looks good. Very good close yesterday, so more than likely some continuation today as well. But yeah, gonna want to see some kind of, I don't know how we looking pre-market on this one. Do I have any levels on this volume candle? Here we're above that one. I want to see a pullback on this thing, but otherwise I could probably go look something bullish here. It's got room to run. At these levels as a long-term investor, honestly, I don't even mind because I do think they go much higher from here too. I would be bullish, but I also hate buying all-time highs at something like this. That puts us at roughly a $4.60 move, something like that. So can we get up to about here somewhere? It's possible. It's possible. But we could get that's where I'll start. Would love to get this a little bit lower, maybe even back into like the 216.42, get my stop underneath this 213.96. But I would remain bullish on them. Not a huge gap. Pan W looks like a cup and handle. The Pelosi trade. If we took this one, which I think we were looking at the swing room a couple weeks ago, last week I think, last Thursday, I didn't take it, but you're pretty much at that almost 2 hours now, which looks good. Cup and handle. Oh yeah, you're looking from over here. You got this nice little handle pull back. Yeah, that looks bullish. Major gap up here to fill. Is Pelosi still holding this? I'd have to check. She's been, I think she has options on it, so I'm not sure if she's still holding or not, but otherwise you got a really good target for that gap fill. Probably slightly above 360. 360, nice psychological hold number. But lots of days of buying in a row. You do have a little bit of resistance up here. I'd almost want to see this kind of fade. I'm not sure if we get it, but fade one more time, 50% retracement here. I think we could keep stops right where they're at for this point and then see if we get that bounce. Like that, I don't know if that's going to happen, but that would get me better risk reward on the trade for sure. But watch this zone up here, which is roughly 322.18. And then I think if we start breaking that, we probably either get an immediate break, retracement candle, which we'll know today, inverted hammer, and then the first scenario would be probably a little more likely. Trying to come in and even around like 308.46 would get us a good risk reward. But we'll have to see. Pretty big resistance for the day. Got a little bit of room, $3 before you have to start sweating. That's not bad. CLX. Santilla says, made tons of money in Apple. You think we'll get the same move 2020 puts now? I'll check out Apple. And then Santilla says, today Tesla is in the showcase. Yep, today Tesla would I think will be a heavily watched stock for sure. Heavily watched, probably really good volume coming back. It might be like old Tesla. It might be like old. It might remind me a little bit some nostalgia Tesla, which would be awesome. Clorox, probably a fairly good location. I don't unless we're gapping like crazy somewhere. No, I don't see us really gapping too much. But as a swing trade, probably not a horrific location. Right at that 618, we had one little dip below it, kind of came back. Now we're bringing in some higher lows. As a swing trade, I wouldn't mind taking something above yesterday's candle, at least attempting. You could take it right off that 618 as well. You get better risk reward, but bullish entry here, probably throwing some kind of stop around here somewhere. That would tell me I'm wrong. Plenty of room higher, even into targets of like 139 and change, 131 or 139.71. You got about a 1.2 on that one. And then obviously, if this is a much bigger reversal spot, not a great close yesterday. We're not really gapping on the open. So for day trade purpose, I don't really have too much edge on it. We got some momentum starting to swing into the bullish direction, which I like. And again, you could buy it off the 618. We've held there a few times. Could we see a double bottom? I'd probably rather not. But yeah, we could see a 128.76. So for right now, I'd still probably look to take the breakout. Two good candles, inside candles. And yesterday was a retrace. It just retraced a little bit too much. So at this point, yeah, probably looking for that break of yesterday's candle if I want to get into for at least a swing trade. DE. DE, Deere and Company. Are they gapping? I don't really see a gap on them for today. Unless it's just one of those crazy ones, but I don't think so. No. So yeah, I don't see any gap on them. Looks like we're again, swing trade basis, yeah, really nice. Good double bottom. You got really good support, somewhere around 360.71. I think we got some bag holders on this one though. So as we start to make our way up, I'd probably be out roughly about a 50% retracement, somewhere around like 386.64. That would take us right into that 200. So maybe use that 200 as a target. But otherwise, decent double bottom. I do like that VPOC a lot. We got next resistance somewhere around 374.95. And then if we could get through that, one more resistance, 380.47. And again, probably looking for targets around 386. But decent double bottom, nice little retracement. Came into a good volume area, held much stronger volume area, slightly below us. If we want to get down there, if this doesn't turn into a bear flag. But yeah, for the upside on this one, I wouldn't be swinging probably for the fence, just because there is some bag holders in this one that's going to clear out as soon as they can make a little bit back if they were holding this thing bullish. But otherwise, yeah, day trade wise, not much Not much, maybe some continuation, but I think today we have to watch for like 370, 75, especially if the market wants to pull back a little bit, retrace. Frog, 500K. Uh, is that your price target on a frog? I'm not sure what the 500K is. Are you up 500K on on your frog position? Maybe that's the volume. That's a really good open. We got a slight little resistance up to like 34.95. We got through that one yesterday. It's probably a little bit easier. It's a gap and go. It is an inside day, so maybe we can wait for some type of a pullback. I think it has a short float on it. Finviz, decent short float. Finviz, do not process my personal information. Um, okay. Yeah, I agree, I guess. Short float. Nah, they only have a 2.47. I thought their short float was a little bit higher. But we are above the 200. All of yesterday was a retest gap. We retested, didn't quite hit the. Oh, that's the investment in Pan W. Okay. Yeah, you said frog and then you said 500K. I'm like, okay. But I'd be looking bullish on this one. Frog, I'm actually gonna get this one. This might be a sneaky little win. Let's get this one on the list. Frog, push this one higher. I would like a little bit of a sell off. This would probably make a good high wave candle, especially if the bottom of that candle comes into yesterday's VPOC. That might be an interesting continuation type play. So if we get some kind of selling into like 34.54, I'm with it. I like it. We got plenty of room if we could break through that first little resistance and some moving averages, which is going to be tough. But if we get to like 37.15 as targets, maybe even as a swing, we got that little bit of a gap fill. We came down, we hit the support yesterday perfectly. Not quite that 200, but yeah, a little pullback on frog, and we could probably take a breakout play on it. That would be decent. DELL. We got a GameStop level. Okay, take a look at that one too. Yeah, GameStop. Yeah, we'll get to that one. That's got some news on it. This is not a bad hammer for some kind of a swing. Where are we opening? We're opening about 4 pennies higher, so nothing too crazy. If we could break yesterday's candle, I think that's the spot. I'm gonna throw an alert. No, that would just be this. Let's throw a little bit of an alert on this one. Good hammer off of a good volume zone. So if we start getting up into that range, it might be worth considering. Otherwise, we're still below that heavy volume zone. Bulls are definitely trying on this one. So yeah, if we can get above that, we get stops to like 127.50. Should have a nice little trade on that one. MU all-time high gap. Yeah, all-time high. Nice little run up into it. For me on this one, the gap's not huge, but it has run a decent amount. So you definitely have some people profitable. So for me, I probably won't go long on MU unless we see a pullback to almost into like this 139.92. I'm not even sure that happens today. But if we get some kind of pullback into there, we get some good candle setups, I'll probably be with MU. Play that continuation. GME. So the levels are tough on it. Honestly, levels are a little tough. It's very news based. We did see some volume on the Roaring Kitty contract. So that $20 in the money. He's got 120,000 contracts, or had. That's the key word. He had 120,000 contracts, and then there was some volume coming in. Open interest was dropping a little bit. And they were selling in like 5,000 increments, which is essentially how Roaring Kitty was buying it yesterday too. So of course we had Jerome Powell, and the market was kind of pulling back a little bit too, which doesn't help. Key level, we're slightly above it for right now. This is 26.29. So the market was kind of dropping on the fact that at least the rumors were we don't know. Like we don't know what Roaring Kitty did. But the rumors were, and it does look like he probably sold some of those calls that he had. Question is, why did he sell those calls and what did he do with the money? That's where the rumors start, and we don't know because he didn't post any charts or anything like that. So we have to pay attention to the GameStop, probably the option contract. I saw some reports that he was buying it for this Friday. He was like just rolling into this Friday. I doubt that. If anything, he probably was giving himself some more time. Other rumors, he was trying to just clear out some cash so that he could execute some of the other contracts. That's a little bit more plausible, I think. And then him running into some other contracts. There was also like some volume coming in at the 150 strike price. I don't know. So it's going to be one of those things we don't know till we know. But look for good resistance or good support somewhere around 2668, which is right where we're about to open, and then all the way down to like 2443. Otherwise, your guess is as good as mine. We are putting in some lower highs. We're also putting in some higher lows. My guess is he probably didn't sell all of the the $20 June 21st contracts. I'm guessing he still has some with the plans of probably exercising those, and we'll see what happens. But otherwise, just an inside day for today. Obviously, that could change based on a post, a tweet, a YouTube video, whatever he wants to do. But those are the levels at least I'd be looking for. Otherwise, inside shop. For now, look for resistance somewhere around $30.15. If we can start to get above that, that will get us back to most likely about 35.20, and then could be off to the races to about 43.73. It's a big if though, and probably would have to get going with some kind of tweet or more than likely some kind of updated portfolio picture that he could put on Reddit, something like that. What do we got? 2 minutes left. We'll check Nvidia and AMD. Nvidia gapping up again, all-time highs. It's Nvidia. Wouldn't mind actually looking for a fade on that one, so not going to go bullish out of the gate, but maybe we could look for a fade. We actually played a successful fade on Monday, I think. Was it Monday or Tuesday? One of those days. I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. I was like, oh man, we hit a 1.2 fading Nvidia. That's wild. And then AMD just kind of inside. So I would say for today at least, we got Tessie would be probably the star of the show, and then we got a couple others. Broadcom, interesting to see what would happen there as well. Bitcoin, BTC, USD. For right now, you got a good little hammer. Still inside day of yesterday, which is also inside day of Tuesday, so probably a little bit more chop. Look for probably big resistance right now at 69,341 if it gets going. AMD is dropping pre-market a little bit. And then support, we just have today's VPOC, which is 67,723. That kind of also lines up into that zone. So any pullback to there would be great. If it starts to break, I'm looking for like about 67K. Otherwise, everybody out there in YouTube land, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. Oh, keep in mind, we do have the myself, Stephen King, and Johnny Guarks tonight. If you guys have not registered for that, it's a free event. We will also be on YouTube as well, but sometimes YouTube's the multiple YouTubes, they could give a little issue, and so just to avoid that, I'm throwing the link into the chat. It is free to attend, but it should be a fun little class with the three of us, and we just discounted it to 100% off. So that's how we roll. Throw that in the regular chat too. Otherwise, YouTube, you guys are awesome. I'll catch you guys hopefully tonight.